Okay, good morning, everyone. I understand we've got a few people on here already. We're not quite at 9 o'clock yet. So, one, hope everyone can hear me. We'll probably kick off in the next few minutes. So, thank you. Okay, so it looks like we've still got a few people joining us as I speak. So again, I think we'll just hold on for a couple more minutes, give everyone a chance to get onto the presentation. And as I say, yeah, we'll kick off very shortly. Thank you. Okay. Good morning, all. I hope everyone is keeping well, given the current circumstances. Hoping everyone can actually hear me at the moment. So, thank you all for joining our what is now a virtual breakfast briefing event. Well, the first in a new series of events where we'll be covering our cloud adoption framework. Today, I'm going to give a kind of brief insight into what the C5 Alliance Cloud Adoption Framework is, and then future sessions will start to delve, a little deeper into some of the areas of the framework, and also some other topics that relate to it. So these events are being hosted every week, kicking off at the same time, 9 o'clock on a Friday morning. There will be the odd exception of some weeks, but if you go to the latest page on our website, which is c5alliance.com, we'll provide you with all the information on these future sessions and what we're going to be talking about, etc. So during the presentation, if anyone does have any questions, then I can I believe you can pop them into, I think there's a chat area or a Q&A area on here. We're using kind of the Teams live tool at the moment. First time for me, certainly. So kind of getting to grips with it. Anyway, at the end, if we have time, we can go through and answer some of those questions. But if not, I've been known to kind of ramble on quite a bit. So if we do run out of time, then we definitely will respond to all the questions post event as well. So also, if at any point throughout the presentation you can't hear me, you should be so lucky, or can't see the slides, again, pop a message into the chat area, and we'll hopefully try to see if we can sort that out and fix it. So again, hopefully you guys can all hear me. Seems a little bit weird kind of talking to myself here, and hopefully you can actually all see my presentation as we're speaking at the moment. So right, let's kick things off. Where to start? So we kind of know, digital technology is changing kind of every industry and every economy. If you're not modernizing your business, then essentially you are falling behind. Businesses need to be digital to kind of compete in today's world. You have to have a digital presence. Otherwise, current customers, they're going to move on to businesses that do meet their needs, and thus the target for new customers will be limited or even non-existent. On top of all this, we're faced with mounting challenges. I don't need to read through all of the points here on this slide, but a few jump out. Costs, we're always talking about increasing revenues, doing more or less, reducing costs within the business, high quality customer and employee experience, business continuity, collaborative working, especially in light of the current pandemic and the work from home situation that we're all currently faced with, and security. Security will forever be a board agenda item. It's hugely important, and businesses are having to kind of meet all these challenges every day. So, and I think now we all understand that cloud can deliver fundamental benefits. It can help your business execute multiple business strategies, and by using these cloud-based approaches, you can improve business agility, you can reduce costs, accelerate time to market, improves regulatory compliance, resiliency, and it's a platform where we can all innovate. You can provide that higher quality of service to your customers, expand into new markets, all whilst, as I say, improving compliance and your security posture. So, and there's numerous statistics to back all of this up as well. So operational benefits can significantly reduce support costs within your IT infrastructure, within your business as a whole. Huge financial benefits potentially with adopting cloud. Huge returns on your investment here, and again, you've mentioned it a couple of times already. There are huge compliance and management benefits. Also relate to managing regulatory challenges as well, and the constant change we see in that area, certainly here within the Channel Islands. But as the cloud has matured, it does bring with it more options than ever before, and that also brings with it more complexity. So, what cloud is now right to deliver the desired results to your business? Hybrid is now cited as the new norm, but then how do you get the right mix of cloud technologies? For successful adoption of cloud, many decisions need to be made, and these are not just technical ones either. So, all areas of a business need to be involved when it comes to successfully adopting the cloud. So, in order to kind of reduce the fear and uncertainty and assist you in reaching these desired business outcomes, is why C5 Alliance have brought to the Channel Islands their iteration of the cloud adoption framework. Essentially, this is a life cycle tool to facilitate decisions and guide you to make those right choices that meet your business needs and deliver those desired outcomes. But Before I kind of delve a little bit deeper into the adoption framework here, it's but why BDO and C5's framework? There are numerous frameworks out there to follow. From Microsoft, AWS, Google. In actual fact, ours is actually built on the industry-leading framework delivered by Microsoft, aptly named the Cloud Adoption Framework for Azure. This is a framework that has been built based on the experience not only from Microsoft themselves, but hundreds and hundreds of providers that have inputted their experience into taking customers on that cloud journey, adopting cloud into this framework. But where we differ is, we differ by bringing additional options and depth from multiple partners, delivering on-island service and capability options into this as well. But I think most importantly, we have an understanding of the local markets that we work in here and the industries that do business here as well. So back to the C5 Alliance Cloud Adoption Framework, as mentioned, it's designed to help business identify productive and sustainable ways to adapt and manage how an organization embraces cloud technology changes and to support their business outcomes. The framework is essentially broken up into phases to match where you may be already in your own cloud adoption lifecycle. Right through from defining a strategy, planning, readying yourself for the cloud, adoption, and across that life cycle, we've got governance, we've got management, and there's the ongoing optimization. So I'm conscious of the limited amount of time that we've got, so I'm not going to go into each of these sections in a huge amount of depth. As mentioned, over the coming weeks, we are going to delve deeper into some of these areas as well. So I'm going to leave it to kind of those guys and those sessions to really get into the depths. But I do want to kind of give a very good overview and a flavour of how the adoption framework is put together, and some of those kind of considerations that you can kind of take and should be considering when adopting your cloud. And of course, we're always there to help you on that journey. So starting with defining a strategy and asking the most important question, why and what? Why does the business want to adopt cloud? Why does your business want to adopt cloud? Now, this might seem a very obvious question, but believe me, it is very often overlooked as well. I've seen many customers jump into adopting cloud solutions without actually answering that question first. And I've questioned businesses, who have already started this journey and, they're struggling to realize some of the true benefits that cloud offers. I've asked them, why have they moved? And I've seen many differing responses, from our CIO just said, we have to move to the cloud. It's what everyone's doing. Right through to, we just need to quickly reduce costs. And whilst the latter may be true, it isn't always the case. The cloud can, in some cases, cost more, and this can be down to poor cost governance, moving just everything in one go into the cloud, and essentially not aligning the desired business outcomes. And I apologize, I mentioned business outcomes quite a bit, but it's important, aligning these outcomes to that cloud strategy. But unfortunately, many of these risks, they can be mitigated by defining a robust cloud strategy. So understand your motivations. Why are you moving to the cloud, and why now? Are there critical business events such as mergers or acquisitions going on in your business? Is it a response to regulatory compliance changes? Maybe whatever it is, understand your why and your motivations. But it's also the what. What outcomes are you looking to achieve? And this may be a number of things. Sorry, I just need to pause for a drink there. These reasons could be fiscal outcomes. Are you looking to drive new revenue streams, increase revenues, increase profit, cost reduction? We mentioned some of these in the challenges earlier. And in actual fact, this will probably be one of the most common, but it won't actually be the only. There's agility outcomes. Markets are moving at a faster pace than ever, and businesses need to be agile to change and adapt when necessary and quickly. You could be looking at customer engagement outcomes. I mentioned one of the business challenges earlier being, the higher quality customer experience. Understanding customer needs and being able to take new products to market faster. And then there's the performance outcomes, speed, resilience, taking advantage of some of the biggest and most up-to-date advanced data centers that are out there in the world. And to fully understand this is where you will need to engage the wider business. Prepare for conversations with your finance departments, with your marketing departments, sales, HR, IT. Different personas in the business will have different expectations and require different outcomes from what the cloud can deliver. And then there's the how. And this is where I mentioned earlier, one of the big differentiators about our framework. Our framework isn't targeted at adopting a single cloud platform. Yes, we're specialists at delivering public cloud solutions such as Microsoft Azure, but partnerships with the likes of HPE allow us to deliver cloud experiences within your own data center via their GreenLake proposition, and there's our own cloud platform as well, Island Cloud. So we understand not everything sits best in the public cloud. Local cloud solutions offer data sovereignty. Keeping things in-house may offer that extra bit of peace of mind and retains full control over every aspect of IT, which some businesses want to have. But using our skills and expertise along with technology, aligning this to your motivations, your business outcomes, the result is an objective data-driven recommendation of the right workload placement strategy, a phase plan to get there, and the expertise to help you make it all happen. So that kind of then brings on to the planning stage. It's time to turn those aspirational goals now into an actual actionable plan. This is where we start to fully map out some of the technical aspects of the digital estate as well. Start to understand the full extent of the workloads, dependencies, etc., to ensure a smooth migration journey. We also need to start to align the right people, who will make the plan a reality, whether this is fully in-house, you outsource some of this, or a combination of that. But having the right people to deliver your cloud adoption plan is key to being successful. And then there's skills. Cloud has marked a monumental shift in technology. But with that, it's also a shift in the skills required to deliver it, to manage it, etc. So a skills readiness plan needs to be put in place. In fact, I was in a meeting with Microsoft a couple of months ago now, and it was quite interesting. It was one of their digital advisors that they go out and they work with us and they consult with our clients, and they were talking about one of the biggest obstacles and the biggest blockers to many businesses adopting any sort of cloud strategy was a lack of skills. A fear of not having the right skills to be able to take them on that journey. And whilst we're in this current situation with the COVID-19, I think we're seeing a lot of vendors and partners are really helping and using this time to boost our cloud skills. And I think there's an abundance of resource out there now to help people gain these skills. Certainly worth going out and having a look for. So and a lot of cost reductions, and a lot of this has been made free during these next couple of months. So yeah, a skills readiness plan needs to be put in place. It may require a change in job roles for certain members of staff, particularly in IT. We need to understand if there are concerns here too. Not everybody wants to change their current role within a business. People have skills, current skills. They're very happy and complacent in what they do. But then we also need to then identify the gaps in skills. And I said build training plans. Now is a great time to do that. or leverage skills from partners such as ourselves to assist in delivering this. And we can take on that journey. We can share a lot of the knowledge we have as well. And then of course there's the final adoption plan itself, right from addressing prerequisites to prioritizing the workloads, addressing whether we're migrating, whether we're modernizing, whether we're innovating these workloads. I'm going to go through a bit more of that in the adoption phase, and again this will also be covered more in depth in other sessions that are going to be delivered as part of this overall series. And within the plan, we can start estimating timelines of how long it's going to take to get there and when we need to get there, etc. So as I just mentioned, the adoption piece is going to be covered in depth in a future session. But quickly, as with the planning stage above, we've identified a roadmap to cloud adoption, a priority list. We understand what workloads will sit whether that be public cloud, a local cloud solution, or on premises within your own organization, and most likely a hybrid of these to meet each workload need to kind of produce the required business outcomes for each of those. So we look to refine the initial adoption plan to reflect deeper qualitative assessment of each workload and asset. We then migrate. I'll come quickly onto those various options here in a minute, and then optimize, secure, and manage those cloud workloads. And again, this is all part of the optimize lifecycle, which again we'll come onto a little bit later. So there are numerous options on how we can migrate and adopt cloud. So right from removing a workload as it's no longer required by the business, right through to replacing it with a full software as a service solution. Think Office 365. All IT portfolios contain a few workloads and ideas that can significantly improve a company's position in the market as well. Most cloud adoption efforts do focus on the migration and modernization of existing workloads. If you look at this diagram here, think the rehost, the refraction, moving where essentially your existing infrastructure is just into the cloud. You'll make certain amount of savings just in the hardware that's required to run that, but it will come with its own additional costs in managing cloud. But it's innovation, however, that can provide the greatest business value here. Cloud adoption related innovation can unlock new technical skills and expand business capabilities. And generally, as you move higher up on this curve here, the more benefit and return on your investment you will generally see. But as I say, certainly when we look at the revise, rebuild, where you kind of look to start re-architecting some of these workloads, making them cloud native applications. But that said, any business-wide cloud adoption plan will include workloads that will not warrant that significant time and investment in creating that new business logic. And there are a few approaches that can be taken here as well. But this is all where the effective strategy and planning will ensure you maximize your cloud adoption. It's having that right workload placement, not just from putting it in the right cloud, but what you're doing with that application when you move to that cloud as well is just as important here. And I mentioned it earlier, innovation. Before you decide on any technical solutions, you need to identify how new innovation can actually drive business value. In every industry, businesses are always trying to do one thing, drive constant value generation. And perhaps one of the biggest mistakes is that businesses try to create new value simply by the introduction of new technologies. Just using new technology will not always instantly drive value. Innovation is a combination of people and technology. So in many cases, it is about testing the water, building that minimum viable product, and then start listening to customer feedback, constant improvement and tweaking. So that the cloud can help with all of this. Whether that's right from managing that feedback, using application insights, using data to gain insights, democratization of data, giving everyone the ability to gain and extract insights, Machine learning, finding patterns in data can assist in predicting some of those customer needs, to help you develop those applications, or what to do with those applications to meet customer requirements. But engage your customers through applications as well. So yes, innovation is critical to business success, but it won't be achieved through technology alone. You need to engage people, engage your employees, engage your customers. They are the ones that will truly drive innovation within your business, and cloud and technology certainly will give you the tool set to then go and deliver that innovation. So I'm not going to pretend I'm an expert on governance here, but cloud governance is an iterative process. For organizations with existing policies that kind of govern on-premise IT environments, cloud governance should kind of complement those policies. Also, as kind of with traditional government, corporate policy, does create that working division of what governance is. Most IT governance actions, it seeks to implement technology to kind of monitor, enforce, or even automate those corporate policies, and cloud governance is kind of built on those similar concepts. So within C5 and the C5 Alliance Cloud Adoption Framework, aligning design with those defined corporate policies, we look to build around 5 pillars of cloud governance. Cost management, evaluate, monitor costs, and create cost accountability. Security, again, security is one of the biggest challenges we face today. Creating a security baseline, ensuring compliance by applying it to all of your adoption efforts. Certainly with everything that's happening again at the moment, we're seeing huge acceleration in people wanting to move to the cloud to be able to enable this work from home requirement at the moment. And we need to ensure at the same time of doing that, while we've been forced into this, the security is is key and something that should not be overlooked. And then there's things like resource consistency, enforcing practice from onboarding, having the right recovery, discoverability. And there's the identity baseline. This also plugs back into the security. Identity and access needs need to be enforced. And it definitely makes things a lot easier if there's consistent role definitions within that as well. And then deployment acceleration, centralization, again, consistency and standardization across, the way you deploy cloud as well. So, governance is, again, a huge and key part to successful cloud adoption. But, so, we discussed delivering on a cloud strategy requires that solid planning, the readiness, the adoption, but it's the ongoing operation of the digital assets that delivers the tangible business outcomes. Without a plan for a reliable, well-managed operations of cloud solutions, those efforts, will yield little value. So when a business moves to the cloud, it also provides an opportunity to develop tighter business alignment. I think, we're able to map workloads and applications again to business processes. We can start ranking the criticality of those workloads, understand the impact of potential outages, and documenting and reporting on some of the operational commitments back on cost and performance back to the business. This really helps you create a personalized management solution based on those business commitments. It helps you enable a management baseline taking into consideration visibility, operational compliance, security, the protection and recovery solutions that all go together to meet those business needs. So the purpose of a management baseline, though, is to create that consistent offering to the business that provides that minimum level of business commitment for all of your supported workloads. And that's kind of the approach we take here at C5. But where we've gone through that alignment back to the business, and we now understand the criticality of workloads and those that drive the most business value, those that are most important. An enhanced baseline can then also be applied to those workloads. This is providing a higher operational investment and kind of the highest degree of resilience targeted at those specific workloads. So again, there will be a session that will go deeper into the management cloud as part of this series. This slide here really just goes through some of those steps there that we would take in working with you. Again, it's identifying those critical aspects, building those baselines, generating the SLAs, the commitments back to your business, and of course, resiliency is ultimately key here. How am I doing for time? Okay, so I think cloud adoption, as we know, I probably again heard this a million times. Cloud adoption isn't a journey; it is an ongoing process, and you need to ensure your cloud solution is continually delivering the projected benefits. Measuring performance against your targets at all times. Through continuous monitoring as well, you can identify inefficiencies within your cloud and you apply relevant configuration changes, process changes. You can start applying automation in there as well, and ongoing on governance. Continually managing and optimizing cloud spend. Many cloud providers, including both ourselves and Microsoft Office, cost reductions for multi-year commits of standardized configurations. There's right sizing, ensuring the resources you are paying for are aligned to the resource being used. Automation to scale up resources can also be applied where required, etc. So cost is quite a big thing. I said, cloud may not always be cheaper if not governed and managed properly. We saw it when virtualization came in a decade or ago. People were able to spin up virtual servers very quickly, and we got what was known as service sprawl. And with the speed and ease that you can spin up services within the cloud, it is no different. So accountability and management of the costs is critical here. But and then the business outcomes over time will undoubtedly change as well. New motivations for change, regulatory changes are always prevalent, and this is always getting us to kind of change the way we do things. But all of this offers opportunities to kind of constantly keep revisiting our strategy. So unfortunately, the cloud does allow for this agility. It enables us to be able to act to these fast moving markets and changes that we see today. So I think so this is kind of the final slide for me today. I think it just kind of highlights, where here certainly at CFO Alliance, we are truly well positioned to deliver a cloud experience anywhere, and I think that's kind of part of the key message to our framework as well. It's it's not all about one cloud fits all type scenario. As I mentioned, the world certainly does seem to be hybrid, but for me the key to success is ensuring that we're not moving to cloud for cloud's sake. It's ensuring we understand, again, it's going back to those motivations, the why, the what you're trying to achieve, and aligning the right strategy, the right cloud that will best deliver those outcomes. So it's not a one or another approach. Each cloud option lends itself to different need, and as I say, delivers slightly different business outcomes. So I think that's pretty much everything for me today. So hopefully within that you got a firm grip of certainly how the C5 Alliance cloud adoption framework goes, the value it can potentially add. I don't know, Courtney, if you can hear me. I mean, do we have any kind of questions and answers from people here?
Hi James, no, we don't have any questions.
Fantastic. No, I don't mean that. No, but I mean, by all means, if people do have questions around our framework, feel free to get in touch with us. We're here to help you. Moving to the cloud doesn't have to be daunting. we can engage with you at every step of this life cycle. Those who may already started and made that approach, we can come and we can assist at any point. So yeah, with that, I'd like to thank everyone for attending today.